All right. Hey guys, we're back live, back
With
at it again.
Nicholas
Episode number
live.
3.
Welcome, everyone.
How are you, Nicholas?
Hey guys, I'm Nicholas live again, and this time we're bringing you this early live stream, a couple days earlier than usual, because you guys are gonna go skiing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Well, I definitely recommend you guys enjoy this bear market. I kind of see it as holidays, because there is less activity happening, less volume, less news coming out, and at the end of the day, if it's a really good time to use to improve your personal skills. Be it if you want to learn trading, which it's not something I'm a fan of, but I still really respect people who know DA really good, who can do technical analysis and have some sort of skills. So if you guys have trouble making money right now, which is true for most people at the moment in crypto, look at it as a sign or just an opportunity to use this lower stress environment, even though the stress is kind of negative, not the positive hype stress, it's the negative we're losing money stress.
Yeah.
But it's still less of this. It's just big things are just kind of boring right now. So there's just so many skills you can learn.
Invest your time instead of money.
Yes.
Or both.
Yeah.
I mean, one of my favorite quotes is that the best investment you can ever make at every single point in time is investment in yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
So last time we ended our live stream with a quick discussion about decentralization and like the superiority of graphene blockchains and stuff. From just a technical point of view, why Bitcoin when we have blockchains that are faster and better at almost anything? Why Bitcoin, despite its huge user base?
What do you mean? Why, in a good way or a bad way? Why Bitcoin?
Like, what's the
Is
need
it
for
necessary?
Bitcoin? Yeah, like if you say, for example, a bit centralization, actually, like the 21 nodes in EOS are good for the community, and I mean Bitcoin doesn't have that. So I mean, of course, it's
Okay, well,
kind
you
of
can't really
central.
compare anything else to Bitcoin. It's people often forget how big the first mover advantage is.
Yeah.
I think I heard a fact somewhere that 70% of the first movers in the .com bubble are still around. This is not a huge number, so it's sometimes even if a great cleansing or bear market happens, usually the people who survive it are the people who have a first mover advantage. So, for example, Bitcoin has a first mover advantage, and just in crypto in general, it's the first cryptocurrency, right? And then like BitShares, I would say the reason it's still around, even though it's like an old giant, but a really like advanced old giant, nobody really understands still. BitShares is so advanced, people still don't understand it. So they are like the first to kind of make and use decentralized exchanges before they were cool, and they're still around. And I'm pretty sure BitShares will be around for many years to come.
Yeah, and so, but over time, you think blockchains like EOS will separate itself from Bitcoin and get used more, or like on a political standpoint, like how do you see Bitcoin in the future? Like, is it too much decentralization, or is it even decentralized in your mind? Because a lot of people, of course, or few people own a lot of Bitcoin. So how do you?
It's not any sort of monetary or capital or just assets in general. There's always going to be a huge difference between people, who the 1% who own like half of it, and then like the rest of people who are just poor and normal, I guess, and middle class, lower class. So that difference is always going to be visible no matter what asset you invent or reinvent or create. There's a reason rich people become rich is because the way they think, and sure, the starting capital they have is a big mover advantage, but in general, the way rich people spend money and look at money is a lot different than the average person does. So, no offense to most people watching this, but most of you don't have a high chance of being stupid rich, because even if you get lucky, like some of my friends who got rich quite easily, then a lot of them are kind of on their way to being broke. No offense to those friends, but that's just the way life works, and it is okay. The sooner we accept that we suck with money, the better chance we have to actually learn how to use it properly.
Yeah.
But the issue with Bitcoin, and what I want to go back to, is not that the rich poor ownership of Bitcoin and how it's dispersed throughout the population. The centralization problem is the miners. So right now, when the profitability goes down, especially when the prices are low, we see your average miners are pretty much going offline. Even some smaller, like professional mining facilities are going offline, and only the big giants are left mining Bitcoin. So that's where the centralization problems is arising, because mining, the cost of producing Bitcoin follows the market. So if it's more expensive, you have more mines online. If it's less expensive, then people have to cut costs and shut off mines. So it's most people think that the mining cost determines the price, but it's the price that determines the mining cost. It's the other way around.
Yeah. So Bitcoin is even from time to time more centralized than most other blockchains.
But it's not an issue though. Like for example, proof of stake is a lot more decentralized, because anybody can run a node really easily. All you need is coins, and you can stake those coins. But proof of work, that requires lots of investment, like lots of investment for you even to break even, let alone profit. So I'm not saying it's unhealthy. As we talked in the last video, centralization, some level of centralization is just a necessary evil.
Of course, yeah. And so the question is, do you think when you would have to decide what is more decentralized, EOS or Bitcoin? Or do you think it's similar in some regards? What is your opinion?
No, Bitcoin is way more decentralized.
Okay.
Because EOS it will forever be limited to like 21
nodes,
main nodes, right? But
with Bitcoin more people gonna enter the space, so it's gonna be even more decentralized.
I mean, just in the US, there's probably a couple big like mining farms, if not dozens, hundreds, and then we have farms in China, you have farms in the Middle East, you have anywhere that can produce cheap electricity. There's usually a couple big companies competing. So Bitcoin will always be like super decentralized, even though it's kind of centralized.
Yeah, that makes and also over time, I think we will have that problem less, that few people own so much. I think it's a thing that's happening right now. And like we also talked about centralized exchanges, and actually a couple months ago we've been in Switzerland, in Zug, at the Tech Crunch, and Vitalik,
the Crypto Valley, I know.
Yeah, exactly. And Vitalik said there that that centralized exchanges should burn in hell.
He said it to the CTO of Coinbase.
Yeah, exactly.
So in front of the panel. It's quite fun.
It's a fun thing to add to our last live stream. That it's gonna be interesting to see how that will evolve.
I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, Vitalik is a genius. We all seen that. Yeah. But at the end of the day, you can't live you can't imagine you're in a perfect world, because you're not.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And
I didn't finish the topic from last live stream. We're just talking about Binance Coin and like how it's pumping like crazy. And I think Binance Coin just goes to show that how profitable an exchange can be, because like the only reason Binance Coin is doing good is because Binance as an exchange is doing good. Yeah. So it just goes to show how much money there is to be made as a company who's unaffected by price. Now, Binance is affected by volume, not by price, but volume usually is same to price. So it's a bad argument to make, but in general, they're less affected. If it goes up a lot or it goes down a lot, it doesn't matter for Binance as long as there's lots of volume happening. So, but I think Binance Coin is a good coin to have if you believe Binance will have more volume in the future. Right now, it's the biggest exchange in the world, and it's keeping that spot really strongly. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying buy when it's pretty up. I kind of avoid that strategy. However, it could go a lot more up if Binance volume keeps going up and up. And it's just interesting that they always used to say, like when the gold rush was happening, that the people that were looking for gold weren't the one getting rich, but the people who were selling the pickaxes got rich.
Yeah, exactly. The tools, like Binance is
speaking of gold,
yeah.
following up on gold, actually, I just recently heard a really amazing fact that actually just today, that actually a lot of people who contributed to the huge rise in Bitcoin that we saw in 2017 was actually metals investors diversifying into Bitcoin. And now what we see is almost all of those people who kind of prop the price up even more are going back to metals, and we might see actually a really strong mini bull run or an actual trend, like a longer term trend with metals in the following 6-12 months, where like gold, silver, and other metals that are quite popular with for trading are actually gonna most likely have a run up. It's just things are just, you have their own miniature market cycles, and it's interesting how that cycle was quite affected. They both affect each other a lot because they target a similar group of investors, and at the end of the day, the reason gold didn't do so well was because Bitcoin took away a lot of their investors and put it in itself pretty much.
Yeah, because like Bitcoin is actually also more similar to gold than to stocks, so it makes sense that people that invested in gold also maybe believe in Bitcoin,
or simply
it's like one of those it's one of those like Venn diagrams where you have like a group of people who are into gold, group of people who are into Bitcoin, and group of people who are into stocks, and they overlap a lot. But some people are specific to each one, some are specific to all three, or there's lots of overlap. I mean, there's only so many types of investors in this world, and this is all targeting pretty much investors.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, yeah, gold like since 2011, gold lost, I think, like 30% in value. It was like at 1,800. Now it's at around $1,200, and Bitcoin gained like 120,000%. So that's huge difference, of course, but that's going to be interesting. Where did you?
And then it fell like 80%.
No, I think
90.
like to the price we're now, it gained like 120,000% actually.
Oh, that's for the current price. Wow.
Yeah, it's been a good investment if you're there from the beginning. And yeah, where did you hear about the gold, the fact that people came from gold investments? Investing.
I saw a YouTube video of Van Eck. I think that's a guy who has 2 ETFs.
Yeah.
For the gold companies, gold mining companies, and then he's the one who was making an ETF for Bitcoin but withdrew it.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, and also because you were speaking of Binance, they also recently they're really getting bigger by day. Basically, they also had a big convention, I think a week ago or something, only like the Binance convention somewhere in Asia, and also they added like XRP pairs and everything, and that's also a follow-up question to the centralization thing. Like, what is your opinion on Ripple and XRP, because it is basically completely centralized, but they're still up there and doing more partnerships. How do you think?
Centralization is an interesting topic. Because, for example, if you look at 99, maybe more or less, percent of altcoins at the moment, they are all perfectly centralized. You look at almost all altcoins are extremely dependent on the core team. So if the core team just decides they want to sabotage themselves and shoot themselves in the foot and crash the market, you are fucked. So it's like it's not a standalone. Like there's very few like purely decentralized. Like maybe I think BitShares could be one of the only ones that is purely decentralized because it functions as an independent community. There's no really core team. There's nobody who's like in charge of BitShares. But for most blockchains and most projects, you have people who are in charge. So just because Ripple is transparent about having so much control doesn't mean like it's really bad because people just because people misuse the word decentralization. Just because you have an ERC token and it's hosted on a decentralized matter on the Ethereum network doesn't mean you're a decentralized company. Like you still pretty much dictate what's going to happen. And if this ERC20 token will have any use, and most companies function on some sort of burn or something to incentivize the price going up. So you're very much dependent on this company propping the price up with their profits or however that their project works. So most crypto projects are unfortunately very extremely decentralized, but it's okay. It's just like a startup.
Yeah, for sure.
And do you think Ripple by itself will have a future of some kind in the banking sector or something, or is it just hype?
I can't answer that question. I don't believe I have enough research into Ripple. Being a crypto wannabe, a crypto fanboy, a crypto hardcore enthusiast, I was always brainwashed by this idea of decentralization, which only now I'm realizing is not as fancy as it sounds and not as positive as it sounds. And sometimes things are not always like they seem. So there you go. So at the end of the day, I kind of always had this hatred towards Ripple because that's what the community was saying. They're too centralized or they're horrible. Mm-hmm. And I never really put time to research them, which I should probably change when I have some free time and take a deeper look. It is definitely proving that it's not really going to go away. Now, is it going to get bigger? Probably. It's going to get bigger than in comparison to the other projects. It's impossible to tell.
Yeah, a big thing with Ripple is that most banks are interested in the technology in the Ripple company, in the blockchain that they provide, which is fast because it's so centralized, but they're not actually using the XRP token. So that's a big thing that a lot of people also confuse sometimes, and they think, okay, I'm going to buy the XRP token because Ripple just made a partnership and so on. But actually, it's not always. Doesn't always. Well,
most partnerships in crypto don't actually involve that partner having a specific use case for the coins. Most partnerships involve coin as a byproduct that's necessary to make the partnership look good.
For sure.
And most partnerships hold coin as a speculation or just to make the partnership, force the partnership to use the coin. But I don't think most partnerships in crypto actually have involved the partners needing that coin.
Yeah, for sure. But still, with
it just goes to show how early we are in this whole ecosystem.
Yeah,
but it's okay.
It's going to be interesting. But yeah, I mean, Ripple definitely has a lot of partnerships with big banks. But yeah, but banks are kind of the enemies of a lot of crypto enthusiasts. That's I think where all the hatred comes from.
Yeah, I personally fucking hate banks. I got so many stories about how I got screwed over. It's a whole night live stream.
give us one story. Give us one bank story.
They pretty much hold hostage a bunch of my money. Okay. And it's in a pending status. I'm trying to receive it for months now.
Let's make the next live stream why banks suck or something.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I should talk about that much stuff this publicly. It's one thing to personally have hatred, but it's another thing to share publicly and poke the monster in the eye. So I was actually already made a video, like a really detailed video, discussing every single thing that happened with me and this bank and how I fucking hate it. But I was just hesitant to publish this. I'm like, do I really want to pull the trigger? It's like, I don't know, man. It's still it's an interesting world. everything is public, but at the same time, some things are the unspoken truth.
Yeah.
Read between the lines. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
And my love for PayPal. Oh my God. Read between the lines.
Yeah, they're great as well. I know.
Yeah.
PayPal. Amazing.
and you're in Poland right now. Is that true?
Yes, that's behind me is Krakow.
Beautiful.
Can't see anything. It's super dark. It's so
Yeah.
you look at it. It's beautiful. Krakow is one of the most more beautiful cities. I highly recommend it. I mean, any city in Europe is beautiful because it's usually all very very old cities. But most cities got destroyed and then rebuilt and destroyed because there's lots of war happening in Europe. I mean, pretty much any two countries next to each other in Europe. No, any two countries next to each other in Europe hate each other. So,
arguably,
like, I think
yes.
Krakow was pretty much. I mean, Krakow is one of those like untouched cities, and it happens to be like a huge student city. So if you're young and not married, read between the lines.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, we checked out your last video about about market cycles, and that's also a thing that you guys should check that out too. It's a very good point because that's one thing we just have to add, because in that time of the market, it's just one very important thing that people always just look at the price, which obviously, I mean, that's what it's about. I mean, I can understand that. It's way more exciting if it's like a $20,000 and going up every day, of course. But actually, from a fundamental point of view, nowadays we've never been that far, like we're now, and it's at an all-time high, definitely. But the price is very low, so I think it's actually way more interesting now than it was a year ago. There's way less hype and so on. Yeah, that's a very big thing to remind.
Explain that to the average investor.
Yeah,
not easy.
That's really interesting to see right now. The gap is huge. I think, yeah, like we kind of a little bit undervalued.
I'm a really hardcore believer in self-improvement, and self-improvement involves everything from getting better with money, predicting the markets, finance, but also involves getting better with people, getting better with females. I mean, it's all something you want to be better as a person at, right? And it's so funny. I keep seeing the same thing over and over again. Every person that wants to sell you something in crypto always talks about the price, and every person that wants to teach you something about about women always tells you you get lots of sex. So it's always the same selling points, like sex and price predictions, like pretty much all of self-development in knowledge out there that's being sold in ebooks and shit. But at the end of the day, like the people who want to teach you about price prediction, they're like, okay, we were kidding. You can't predict the price, but this is how you find out about the market cycle and shit. And then people want to sell lots of success with women. They're like, okay, you were kidding about that. You can't really get it easily. However, you should just work out and look good and dress nice. It's always the same shit happening over and over again. People just want the easy life. People want just to get the price prediction, get sex. People are so fucking simple, and they're just like short-term minded, and we gotta fix that if we want to get better.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
What do you want to
Awkward
say?
silence after I start talking about sex.
In my experience, when I talk about crypto and I talk about price, that isn't really working anymore. People, when you start talking about price instead of technology and stuff, people won't listen. That's my experience.
Well, market cycle. We're in a very negative trend, right? I mean, most people lost around 97% at this point.
Yep.
I'm not speaking from personal experience here.
Yeah, let's hope the next 3 years are gonna change that, because we also looked at some charts, and actually we are now pretty much at the beginning or at the end, basically. However you see it, either at the end of this cycle or the beginning of the next cycle, where we kind of enter next 4 year stage. There is a pretty interesting video by Bob Lucas. He's a pretty successful trader, and it also goes to show that everything is just really about market cycles. And yeah, at the moment, despite having lost a lot of percentages, of course, I think it's a very interesting time to accumulate and yeah, do your research, I would say.
Yeah, it is. I mean, when you have something like it's like Bitcoin, which is super volatile, and it can change in a matter of single and double percentages, like 10-20% daily sometimes. That's extreme fluctuations. So if you're in a market which involves 10% fluctuations per day, and you're not okay with like 80% fluctuations in your portfolio, you're in the wrong place.
Yeah.
So this is just, it is like, you want the price to go up for the next 2 years. Well, it has to go down for like a year, at least a year or something.
Yeah.
There's always has to be some balance. Like, yeah, like in the trajectory, maybe it's like forever up or forever down, but in the meantime, it's gonna swing like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
So this is just an example of if something swings 10% per day, it's gonna end up swinging like 80, 90%, 95, 97% per year, which is, hey, welcome to reality. However, when you have these extreme downward swings, you usually have extreme upward swings. So it's just part of the game, I guess.
And also, the higher the market cap gets, also the less volatility we will have, probably. I mean, of course, with the market cap being at 110 billion, there's going to be a lot of volatility, of course. There are a lot of people or companies that could basically buy the whole market. So, of course, you have to expect huge volatility.
I mean, there's an interesting point that market cap is, of course, a very theoretical number. It's never close to being true. So it only takes a few billion, if not less, to actually drastically change the market.
Like basically 50 times, I would say. Like, you could divide the market by 50, and then you have the amount of billions you need to like move everything, basically.
In an extreme way. So there's lots of billionaires out there, so it's quite susceptible to manipulation. However, as soon as we get into the trillions, there isn't lots of trillions there. As far as I know, there's only one trillionaire in the world, right? The Amazon guy. Once we get into that area, then you can't really. There isn't many people left who can manipulate. Only only a couple possible entities.
Yeah,
like some governments or some groups of people which combine their wealth together. But that's why there's less fluctuations.
Yeah, that's a good point. And also an additional point which doesn't have that much to do with it, but the richest people, I think the richest people that we know, these are only the richest people that weren't able to hide their wealth, I think there are way richer people that traded with oil and specific stocks, like, I don't know, 10 years ago, that we don't even know about. But I mean, that's another story.
That is a whole other story.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were rich, would you want to be on the rich list? Not really.
That's what I mean, yeah. But yeah, guys, so yeah, we will be back in 2 weeks, since gonna be skiing. And yeah, tell us in the comments what topics you want us to discuss about next. If you have any questions for us, for Nicholas, what is your current view on the market and everything? Tell us that. And also
even better, since you made it this far, and I thank you for watching the entire live stream, please do comment you lost, like percentage wise, like is it 95, 97, 92, 85, whatever percent that you
99.
downright I'm high. If you're okay with sharing this number, it's just a percentage. I really want to see some comments and just get a feel of where we are with our audience and our friends in crypto.
Yeah, of course. That's a good point. Yeah, guys. So
All right.
see you in 2 weeks. Have great holidays.
Thanks for tuning in, and see you next time live with Nicholas live. All
Bye.
right. Bye.
Bye, guys.